Welcome back. I've made a few various improvements to the project so far. Started really getting the whole pipeline framework in, or at least thinking about it. And so right now I'm doing everything very environment variable based. So I've kind of gone through and added that to a bunch of the tools. So let me really quickly just start up Maya, and then we'll also look at I now have all the directory structures basically fully dynamic from this config. So there's a token structure, which is like what this token represents. And then if it has a value in it, we're going to use that folder. If it doesn't, then the user has to input it. And then for each tool, for now, there needs to be a minimum number of tokens in order for the tool to understand something about the directory structure. I'll probably play with this over time and see what happens. Come on, Maya. Should have had this loaded beforehand. Cool. Okay, so here for the asset browser, this is pretty much as we had before. And there's the little skeleton guy. And if here we go. Asset browser. We'll add some folders in here. And then added this second shelf with some stuff for the environment variables. So like right now, there isn't really anything here, but we'll come back to that in a second. Re-import this module, come over, and now there's all the folders. Cool. And I shouldn't have closed that right away. Okay, so just get rid of those. Then after we import, built this, these are the environment variables that we have, and we can just print these out, and it's basically kind of put in here. And this is really just so that way then other tools can get values from others. I was really debating whether or not to go for this or like a centralized singleton class, like a Qt class in order to get signals. I've seen several implementations of that things can subscribe to, and then they kind of just automatically update. And I don't know if I'll use that. I might not. I'm still not quite sure. But right now I have the 4 browsers, the Unreal Animate Asset Browser, the Maya Animate Asset Browser, and then the Maya Animate Asset Publisher. So there's like 6 menus overall, which isn't a whole lot, but I mean, it's at least, getting assets from one program to another in some sort of organized fashion. And now I'm trying to think about, before getting into Substance and stuff, like what's the bigger picture that I want to be doing. And I just don't want to pay for a Substance subscription right now because I'm going to be traveling for the holidays, so I'll just wait till next year. But let's bring up here. Cool. So here's kind of what I'm thinking about for the pipeline at the moment. There's the core pipeline, which is like all of our tools. And say that we have one project and references all the tools, and then we make another project, and the workflow is exactly the same. And then we make a third project, and somewhere in there we decide that the workflow needs to be different. Well, what do? We could add some injection points or insertion points into each of the tools that say, hey, run some script located on the project folder level. Before or after, wherever we put these different points, or we could have an alternate version of the tool and say, hey, whenever we go to load up this tool, let's just see if there's an alternate version that exists in that project and then load that one up instead. And I don't know, there's different ways to do this. Still kind of trying to figure it out. On very large pipelines, typically like anytime that you submit an update to a tool or just add a new tool at all, and you're changing like 1% of the pipeline, this would be for like a fully matured studio. Usually you just copy the whole pipeline over for that project. And so that's a cool infrastructure or framework. Like a different sort of version loader that's like, hey, we'll update this version of this tool for this project, and here's the manifest of all the like tool versions that you have. That is really bad for a small pipe. What's good for a large pipe is good for a large pipe, but if you spend time developing that for a smaller pipe or smaller projects or whatever, you're going to be wasting a lot of development time. If you come up with something like this and try to apply it to a large pipe, it's probably not going to work as well either. So things you use things for different sort of needs, and different pipes. Some things are good when they're small and some things are good when they're big. So this, I think, so far is the kind of what I'm going to go with, which is loading up like a whole different copy of the tool. And so Another thing that I have at the moment, this is kind of just all over the place, is I now have, let's see, well, there's this renamer that I don't really care about talking about that. I shouldn't have brought that up. Okay, so there's the pipeline settings that we've had before. Here's where we can set like the settings for the whole studio or team or what your work, personal, just one person workflow. And then there's this project manager, which is how you can make new projects. So this will basically start by getting the project path that we set in the pipeline settings and then tacking things on from there. So let's see. Yeah, so here we now just put this config folder in here, and this is all the configs that it generates, and then the settings that it makes. There's some general stuff. Whoops, we want to go to test to have some of these filled. Some asset stuff like scale. Sometimes in some movie workflows, you work at 0.1 scale. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably put like a Maya scale and an Unreal scale for defaults, but I know right now on the Unreal publisher, I think there's like a setting that I had there for that. So anim stuff and then texture. And then this is like the project specific stuff, and then this is the default. So that way then all this will like kind of edit the stuff that exists in the pipeline, and then all shows or projects or whatever you're working on get whenever you go to make a new one, this will be like the default values for stuff. And then yeah, so new project, we'll just say it's test. No, we have that as a show. We'll say new, create project, and then come back over, and there it is. And just copy these in. So pretty simple for now. This will probably expand as time goes on. And not all of the settings and all the configs are really used at the moment. Some stuff is though. So whenever you go to publish a file through Maya through the tools, this guy here, it will grab the version padding in there. So that way then BCT projects, let's go all the way back. Set. Here, the digit padding after the V, that's what it'll use. So if it's 5, it'll be 00001. If it's 3, it's just 001. Yeah, so other stuff like that. I don't have all that hooked up at the moment, but it's getting there. And yeah, I guess like just as a side note, I have this renamer, so you can, do I still have that open? Don't, I shouldn't have closed it. Oops. We'll go here and then go all the way down just because there's more stuff. Cool, so I'll just copy this. Select and then, what? Okay, and so yeah, here's some stuff here. So we could replace king with something. There you go. And it'll just rename it, or you can do this and it'll only rename those. Pretty simple. I don't know. There's a bunch of them online. I just made one because it seemed like a good idea and a fun exercise, but that's in the project now. Lastly, let's bring that over. Cool. I got the README set up. Not everything is set up here. It's just kind of how to get the pipeline going. It doesn't really talk about how you still need the category nulls in order for the Maya asset publisher to work. So most of it's here. I believe when you go to publish stuff, there's like a reminder box that comes up, but I need to like format this a little bit more. And it's pretty crude and rudimentary at the moment. It's just like download this, pip install these, and then you can start doing it. I hope to have this kind of automatically done in the future. I'm just sort of like, I don't know. I need to just take some time to do it, and I just haven't. Yeah, so I mean, at least that's there. And I believe that's really it for like updates. It's really just me thinking about this here as a core problem. You know, frameworks are structures of code or like libraries or like helper systems that come out of needing to solve some sort of problem or provide some sort of mass convenience. And so this here is certainly there's many ways to approach this kind of problem. What do I want to do and what makes sense? So I'm really just taking my time thinking about that. And yeah, that's mostly it. I'm probably not going to be posting anything for the next 6 weeks, like until the end of the year, just because of travel and holidays and whatnot. But at least here's an update for now.